Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to create the vector portrait project in both Gravit Designer as well as Illustrator. You can also utilize Photopea and Photoshop for this assignment to make your original reference image that you're going to be using to draw from this time. We are using real photos, so you're welcome to take your own photo, of course. There's also all those free free sources that you can use that I gave you the list of earlier this year. They're also posted on Google Classroom. So let's go ahead and get started here in our planning phases. First step is brainstorming on your sketchbook what your subject is going to be about. So yes, it's a vector portrait. You're going to have a person or character in there in some capacity, but what's going to be happening in your scene? For my example here, my inspiration is based off of the starting image of Photoshop from the last edition when Illustrator was released. Photoshop was released for the iPad. So you can see this image here, this kind of whimsical, surreal image. We talked about surreal artwork already this year. I want to do something very similar, just an imaginative space this way. The next step is finding your reference images. So thinking about the actual style that you're going to be drawing in. Look at ways that other artists have drawn vector portraits. Key thing here, I put a hint at the top, search Google for vector portraits. You're going to see all kinds of creative ideas as you go through and look at those to get ideas of how you can add different characteristics of these styles into your own piece rather than tracing and just drawing and hoping that it turns out exactly how you want. So in this first one, I'm inspired by the glow that's happening on the sides of the face. I also really like how they broke down the simple just facial features here where you can see the value changes. Nothing super complex, but it does have that really nice glow, the fun whimsical colors that I'm looking for. This one I really like how the background is actually merging with the subject. I think that I could really use that in some way in my design that I'm going to be creating. So I might do that with the window, maybe the color that's coming through the window into the face. And finally, I actually chose two for my last one here. Thinking about drawing jellyfish in my scene, what am I actually going to be drawing? There's so many little parts of them. They have that really shiny texture. So I wanted to look up some different artist examples that I was inspired by to get ideas of how I can actually create mine for my assignment. So those are there. After that, you want to find out how you're going to arrange your space. So starting to find those reference images. If you are going to take your own photos, you want to look online first and see if there's any layouts or compositions that can be inspirational as you take your own pictures. If you are going to use Unsplash or one of those other free sources, you are welcome to find the pictures during this stage that you're going to be using for your composition. Bringing you to our last slide here of sketching out where everything's going to go. So looking at my subject, I want to place the subject at the rule of thirds in front of the window. The jellyfish are going to be outside of the window. That was my final plan that I came up with. It can be super simple like this, guys. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. However, if you are going to draw from your sketch, you're going to use that sketch, bring it into Illustrator and draw right on top of it. Make sure that's nice, clean, crisp, and clear. Something that you draw nicely on paper first and then bring into the program. Now this is perfectly fine, just so I can see where you're going to be placing everything. If it's something that I really would not be able to interpret, you can always add text on here too and write out an explanation if need be with any of those items in your space. All right. So as we get started in the program, I want to make sure that I merge all of those together in the same space. So I used my lasso tool, my magnetic lasso tool, to cut out my individual shapes and put them all into the same scene. We've done this already this year. If you need to see that tutorial again, it is on our Google Classroom. It's on my YouTube channel. So if you need to check that out again, those steps are there for you. I merged each of these into the same space, and then I also adjusted the color of the contrast. So remember, we used the levels and the curves earlier this year. If there's one image that looks a little less bold or doesn't have as deep of values, remember that you can adjust the curves of just that one image before you bring it over so that it's going to match up with the same values as everything else in the space. It's important that it really does look like everything goes together before we do this next step. So once you are done with that, So once you're done with that, you do want to merge all of your layers together into one image. So if you have multiple, remember you can hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, select all of them, and then just right click and merge layers. Or you can also use the shortcut, which is Control E or Command E on the Mac to merge those together. Either way, you have to have only one single layer. I can't stress this enough before you move on to the next step. Otherwise, it's not going to look exactly how you want it to be. And let's keep a non-destructive layer in both programs as we do this next step. So again, I have my single layer, everything's merged together, but I want to make a copy of it. So I'm going to drag that down to the New Layer button and go up to Image, over to Adjustments, and then to Posterize. So again, it's Image, Adjustments, and Posterize. Actually, it's the exact same steps in either program. And on here, it's going to show me my levels. So you can adjust that. Keep it super simple. I would not go past 5 as you make this adjustment here. But depending on how detailed you want your drawing to be, you can adjust that. So 5, you're getting pretty detailed. There's a lot of different color changes that are happening in this scene. For mine, I'm going to bump that down just a little bit again. I think 4 is going to work really well for me. So I'm going to keep that there. One final thing, if you would like to, you can go up to Image and Adjustments and over to my Hue and Saturation option. Because I am making this super whimsical, I can adjust the saturation, so how bright those colors are, the intensity of the colors, but you can also change the hue of the entire picture. So maybe I want the water outside to be yellow and I want this inside where it's showing the yellow of the walls to be blue. I can actually completely switch the hue of the whole picture and adjust kind of the mood that you'd get from looking at it. So I'm going to keep mine there as a complete opposite, but you can see there's so many options here that you can play with as far as the colors to work with your scene. All right, and File, Save As, save that as a JPEG image, so from Photoshop down to JPEG. Make sure you're saving it in a place that you can find it, and now you can open that up in Illustrator or Gravit. So let's go ahead and do that same thing now in Photopea. Here's my image, the same one that I compiled together in Photoshop. Again, I'm going to click on my background layer and drag it down to the New Layer button so I have a copy of it. And I'm going to go up to Image at the top, over to Adjustments, and then down to Posterize. So Image, Adjustments, and Posterize. Same menu pretty much that popped up before. Again, keep it to 5 or less so you don't end up with too many values that you're trying to recreate. And if you go to Image, Adjustments, you can also go to the Hue and Saturation option, just like in Photoshop, and adjust that hue if I did want to switch it, and overall get that same result that you saw in Photoshop. In Photopea then, same thing, go to File, and we can go to Export As and save that as a JPEG image, ready to go in Gravit Designer or in Illustrator to draw right on top of. I just opened up the image that we created in Illustrator. The first thing that you want to do in either of the programs is go to your Layers palette and make sure you lock your reference image. So in Illustrator, right next to the little visibility icon, the eyeball, you should see that extra little space there, and if I click, the little lock icon will appear. That way I know that I'm not going to move around this image as I'm drawing, and then I can start my first layer of drawing by creating a new layer on top of it. Gravit Designer, the same thing. I'm going to make sure that I lock this image layer, so look at your reference image here, find the little lock icon and click to it right next to that visibility icon. And I'm going to click my New Layer button here to start a brand new layer to start drawing on top of. The process is going to be the same as what we've done for our last 2 practice exercises. It's just going to take it a step further. This time you're going to end up with even more layers. So think about it strategically as you start creating each of these shapes. If there's ever shapes that don't need to have a brand new layer on top, you can create them on the same layer. You just want to make sure that you're stacking them on top of each other when necessary. So something like the window layer with the jellyfish should be behind the character. Start from the farthest things in the background of your page and work your way to those smallest details in the front.